All right, so what should you pay for a tax attorney? It really depends on the type of issue. If you're a business owner, you can expect to pay a little bit more. There's more complicated issues. But let's take the typical example of somebody who's a sole proprietor and gets a letter from the IRS a couple of years after they file their, we'll say, 2019 return. If you're estimating the amount's not going to be more than $30,000, $40,000 in potential tax liability, it might make sense to try to resolve it with your CPA first. Now, there's usually a lot of tax legal issues that come along with that, but if it's simple enough, your CPA should be able to resolve it. We do work with a lot of CPAs, so a lot of times the CPA might do the bulk of the work and we're providing the legal support, depending upon the technicality of the issue. But I'll give you a quick example. We had someone who was working as a W-2 employee in a hospital, and they also claimed to have owned a business. And on that business, they reported $100,000 of gross income and about $250,000 of expenses. So they lost $150,000. And they got a letter from the IRS, and the IRS says, hey, we don't believe this return. We want to have an interview. And so she brought me the letter, and this is before she became a client. And I said, well, look, I talked to her a little bit about this. I said, what exactly do you do? Because on here it says telephony as your business, and you're a W-2 worker at a health organization. So I'm not really understanding how the two are relating. So she proceeded to tell me that she invested some money in a foreign country with a guy who she didn't really know too well. And the guy would say, hey, good news is you made $100,000 this year. Bad news is, we spent $250, so you owe me $150. And she would wire the money or send it off to him. Now, of course, she gets picked up for audit, and the IRS is asking questions like, what is this lady doing telephony, and why is she losing money every year? And so the biggest concern we had is when the agent told me that there's 15 years of these returns losing money, she basically zeroed out her tax that she got withheld from her paycheck. So what appeared to be a very simple issue in the very beginning with not a lot of value became a bigger concern when we started talking to the IRS revenue agent, who we've dealt with numerous times on these type of cases. So in the end of the day, when you're looking to hire a tax attorney, definitely you can give a call to an attorney, get the initial ideas. Any attorney who it's worth their weight in gold could talk through the issues in about 5 minutes, and maybe even look through your return. We do that in about 5 minutes. We can assess the case and go, okay, this is probably something you need an attorney. If it's not something I can provide value, or an attorney's not going to be able to provide value, then you should be able to do it on your own or with the help of a CPA. Most important is you're going to have to understand what documents is the IRS looking for. What are the claims? What are the issues? And what years, right? If it's a simple, I didn't report my income from a distribution from an IRA, well, that's pretty simple. Okay, if you didn't, most likely you're going to have to pay the additional tax. You might be able to get an attorney to help you to waive the penalties if it's a big enough number, but you're going to have to make some kind of an assessment. What are you going to pay for an attorney in fees, and how much is the tax owed? So hopefully you're going to be paying much less, a fraction of what you could potentially owe, and to get some kind of result. Now, no attorney is going to be able to guarantee the result, but anybody with significant experience will be able to tell you the likelihood of success. Hope this information is valuable to you. Feel free to call us if you have any questions. I'm John Milikowsky, founder of Milikowsky Tax Law.